told you every single Monday and Thursday. Not only are me and Vince going to bring it, but look who we have today. He played football. He wrestled. He's been in the WWE. He's been in MMA all over the place. So it just makes sense to have our next guest be Mr. Jake Hager on the Coach and Bro Show. Jake, thanks for hanging out with us today. How are you?
Hell yeah, I'm excited. Thanks for that amazing intro right there.
Vince, have you ever crossed paths with Jake at all?
I've never crossed paths with Jake. We have a particular person that we both spent a lot of time with on different occasions by the name of Dutch Mantel. However, I'm a little hot with Jake right now.
Whoa!
I just met him, Coach, and I'm hot with Jake. I'm hot with him, bro. Right off
what
the
else
bat.
is
I never
new?
met the dude. I wanted to get off to a good start. I'm hot at Jake, Coach. I didn't get the memo that we were supposed to wear the button-down shirts today to show our athletic bodies, bro. I didn't get the memo, bro, so I'm all buttoned up here, and we got Jake showing on. Jake's got nothing on me, bro, but I didn't know we were supposed to wear the shirts down to the belly buttons today, bro. Didn't get the memo, Coach.
Well, clearly, he's got no personality whatsoever. None whatsoever. Jake, why are you offending? Why
you got that hat? Did you get that hat? Did you get that hat from Dutch?
Did you?
I got this hat from Chris Jericho, actually. But when you're the best looking man alive in pro wrestling, Vince, this is just everyday wear. I just got done cleaning my house. What are you talking about? Just,
Very
Gucci. I'm on my lawn and designer.
So, Jake, before we get into the games, because we're the first show in the history of time that takes the biggest personalities from the world of wrestling, and we actually show people that we can talk about things other than wrestling, like the NFL, like real sports. And so you cross all of that during your career, from playing football, from being in an OU, from being in MMA, being in wrestling. What's been the favorite thing that you've gotten to do or that you're still doing?
Man, there's so many cool comparisons about it. Football, I was young, so it was just the pure excitement of winning and being on a team and like being on a different level that I've never been on before. WWE was a whole different place. It was a bigger level, bigger crowds, bigger fans, and it just seemed like it was just a lot of fun to do that and travel the world. Whereas MMA, I thoroughly enjoyed it when they closed that cage and my coach would look at me and say, "You have permission to hurt this guy." So I think I was more born for MMA mentality, and I enjoyed that the most, mainly because my hard work determined my success.
It's so funny, Vince, when you were writing for WWE, and it was rare that you'd have that crossover athlete, but you had Brock, you had Curry, you guys like Jake. Did that make it easier for you to write because these guys had that competitive mentality?
Coach, I got to be honest with you. Coach, I got, what do they call it? ADD, where like I got to bring something else. I got to totally ignore your question. Because I've said this, I had a long talk once. A couple, Chael Sonnen came on my show a couple times. We had a couple, and I said this to Chael, bro. If you're locking yourself in a cage with another man and you both want to kill each other, something's wrong up here, like serious. But then I'm watching Jake talking about how he loves hurting people. He loves being locked in a cage like an animal with other human beings. But yet he's got these mamby-pamby knickknacks on the wall behind him. And it doesn't add up to me, Coach. Who's the real Jake, bro? Is it the mamby-pamby knick-knack Jake, or is he come in a cage with me so I could tear your heart out and feed it to you?
I'm currently selling my house right now, so I have it staged.
Well, you better get rid of those knickknacks. Nobody's buying it if they come in there and they see those, bro. Get rid of them. Put your wrestling belts back there. Do something, bro.
Yeah, I didn't win that many wrestling belts, actually.
Make believe, bro. They don't know.
Hey, Jake, I tell people all the time because it pisses off the wrestling fans. I'm a former tag team champion of the world. I am. I truly am. Yeah. People go, Coach, you couldn't have been. I go, guys, none of it's real. It's about where you've been, but none of it's real. None of it's real. But we've got to get to football, guys. All joking aside, this is why we're here. This is why Sportskeeda brought us on, the Coach and Bro Show. Jake Hager with us today. So we've got to start with Thursday Night Football because, Jake, tonight, we're talking about the Patriots and the Jets. And this is when Vince gets very, very personal when you see that JETS jersey on. But I'm going to let you start the discussion. The Patriots have beaten the Bengals, and then they lost to Seattle, which I think is going to be a playoff team, by a field goal in overtime. But yet they're getting 6 points tonight. Where do you stand on this one, Jake?
Well, if Vince is hot at me for my shirt, he's really going to be hot at me for this take. Everybody wanted to get off the Patriot bandwagon, and everybody wanted to get on the Jets bandwagon, saying they're a Super Bowl team. Look what my 49ers did to them in week 1. Ran all over them. I love what the Patriots are doing. I love how Jacoby Brissett is playing. They're going to have 6 men in the box, 6 offensive linemen up there, and they're just going to say, try and stop us. I got the Patriots mainly because Thursday games are a little bit wonky in scoring. It's very low scoring, usually high defense and high turnovers. But I think with the 6-point spread, the Patriots got it.
Vince, he is absolutely right. It's been primetime unders and roof. The dogs have been barking, Vince. Tell me why your Jets can cover the 6, Vince.
Bro, I did my homework, Coach. This is what I got. This is what I got for Big Jake. First of all, when we talk about the Patriots, we're talking about a very weak offensive line. We're talking about a very weak down the field passing game. And we are talking about a Jets defense that right now, 3rd in the league in quarterback pressure. However, with all that said, I do believe I will take the Patriots and the points. I think the Jets are going to win this game, but I don't think they're going to cover the spread, bro. I take the Jets, but I think this is going to be a field goal.
Jake, whenever Vince says I did my homework,
it's
kind of like a coin flip on whether or not he really did his homework.
I got notes. I got notes.
I picked up my notepad. I was about to take notes after he said that.
Don't. Maven did that on Monday, and it did not go well for him.
It did not go well for him.
It did not go well for him. All right, so that's Thursday Night Football. There's a lot to get into, but that's our picks on that. But, gentlemen, when you have Jake here and Vince here and the backgrounds that we have, the second game may not be the biggest on the card, but there's a lot of interest in this one. And I'm going straight to Seattle. I just mentioned Seahawks, they're 2-0. They beat Denver. They beat the Patriots. But the Dolphins, they were a playoff team, guys. And last week, another scary, scary situation when Tua goes down, his 4th high-level concussion. And, guys, we've been in it. We know how serious it is. We've seen it so many times. And, Jake, I want to start with you. They're no longer a playoff team. But when you're a team and you see your guy $50 million plus go down, but the money isn't even the discussion. It's his health. Do you think we'll ever – or should we ever see Tua again?
Brain injuries are definitely very dangerous because you can't see them. Like you can't see the ailing effects of it. Like you could if you hurt your ankle, you could see yourself limping. And so it's very interesting what's happening right now. And I think it's good that we're having this discussion because this should be more on the forefront. I don't know if we are again, like, how much of that money is guaranteed? That I'm sure that's going to play a big part into it. I know he wants to come back, but to really take your time with it and decide, like, some of these concussions last for months. Like, so it may make the decision easy for himself because he's still having headaches in 30 days and he can't pass the platform baseline test. And so I think time is going to tell, and he just needs to take a lot of time with this, and there's no rush. I wanted to take the Dolphins, even though they're so explosive, because they're so explosive, but I can't even tell you who their backup quarterback is. So I took Seattle at home.
Well, I think Skylar Thompson is their backup quarterback, and there's been a lot of talk this week about trading Matthew Stafford from the Rams, Russell Wilson from the Steelers, because remember, Wilson, he's only making 1.2 as far as the Steelers are concerned, because Denver is playing his $40 million plus. But Vince, I think Jake has a really – by the way, I'm going to be taking the Seahawks minus the 4.5, but this is such a serious topic, and we know from all working with Chris Nowinski, and I've been the guest speaker at his big fundraiser he has in Boston every single year, and he has dedicated his life to the study of CTE and concussions. Tua's had 2 where he's been stuck on the ground, and it's scary to watch. I don't want to see this again, Vince. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. We've all, been in the wrestling business, Coach, and we've all seen it way too much. Bro, Bill DeMott told me after the fact, bro, the guy actually lost his eyesight during a match due to concussion. So, man, listen, we've seen this way too much, and it's always gonna hit home when it comes to us in wrestling. And man, bro, you don't want to go out there one too many times, and then now it's got an effect, on the rest of your life. And he may already be at that point.
So I know the finances, and Jake, you already brought it up. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. That for him, it's very, very important. You never like to bring the finances into the discussion. We're talking about a guy's health and life or death. But if he retires, he's only entitled to a portion. If he is forced to retire because of injury and health, then he gets all of the guaranteed money, which I believe is in the $170 to $180 million mark. Then I think if you're a billionaire and you got a guy that he cares about as much as Tua, he'll say, listen, I'm worth $10 billion. I'll give him 180 because of everything he's been through. So I think they should figure out a way, get him the money, and he should retire. That's what I believe.
Well, I think time is the most important thing. Like maybe sit out the whole season. Like it's the time in between the concussions. He could be fine, come back week 5, but then have a concussion week 7 again, and it's gonna be twice as bad. So why not just give it as much time as possible? Maybe I don't know. See how the backup is playing, see how the team responds. But having that guaranteed money is nice when it comes to making decisions, because we're all doing this for our families. We're all doing this to eat. I'm acting like I'm an NFL player right now, but it's really important to have that guarantee, and it'll be a lot easier to make that decision, even though he's probably not even thinking about it right now. That's the last place he's thinking. He's trying to come back 100%.
Yeah, every player wants to play. That's what they'll tell you. And they have to be protected from themselves, Vince. And it's the same in the wrestling business. How many times have we seen guys because they feel like they're going to lose their spot, and there's only 2 hours of TV, and so they come back when they're not ready, right?
Absolutely, man. If I wish, Coach, I wish we knew then what we know now. I mean, I was a guy that was heavily responsible for, pitching Vince the Brawl for All. And my God, man, if I would have known then what I would have known now, I would have never even brought that up, man. But thank God we know what we know now.
All right. Well, let's get back to a more positive subject. But sometimes this is why you watch the Coach and Bro Show. It's not all going to be, roses and rainbows. There's certain topics we've got to hit, and we just did it right here on Sportskeeda.com. We've got Jake Hager this week. We're talking NFL, and there is a game, guys, that when this schedule was put out, they're like, man, week 3, Big D, Dallas, Dak Prescott, he got his bag, 4 years, 240, highest paid player ever. And then you got Lamar Jackson. He got his bag a couple of years ago. They're now 0-2. So, Jake, somehow the Baltimore Ravens are favored on the road by a point after Dallas gave up 44 last week at home to the Saints. How are you seeing this one play out?
Well, I got my purple on for a reason. It was specifically for this game. I will take any chance to root against the Dallas Cowboys. They absolutely suck. It's not your year. You will not win a game in the playoffs. Yeah, I said it. And the problem starts with the Cowboys. It's Jerry Jones and the management. Every year, no one can tell them that they're making mistakes. It's kind of like pro wrestling. You can't tell the uppers that you're fucking up. I don't know if I could say that, but
we got the B button.
Okay, I like the Ravens, even though the spread is very tough at -1. I think they're going to come in and they're not going to go 0-3. They run a very similar offense to New Orleans that just put up 100 on Dallas. And I think Lamar is going to come in. I think they're going to finally try and feature Derrick Henry and run the ball after what they saw New Orleans did last week. And I think it's going to be another big L for the Big D.
How in the world can you imagine, Vince? I don't know. Maybe I'll compare this to Gunther right now, where you don't do anything for 27 years, but yet you continue to be put out there as the most popular thing. And I don't like taking a shot at Gunther, but it is what it is. He's a world heavyweight champion. Why? What are we doing? But Vince, the Dallas Cowboys haven't done squad douche since 1997, and somehow they're worth over $10 billion, and they're still America's team. But yet the sports books are starting to figure it out. Underdogs at home to Baltimore. What do you think, Vince?
I got to tell you, see, Coach, you don't know this, but Lamar is actually my favorite quarterback in the NFL.
For real.
For real, 1,000%. I can watch this guy play all day long. So this is tough for me because, bro, I cannot see Lamar going 0-3. Like, I can't. They lost their first 2 games. I can't see him going 0-3. However, the Cowboys are 12-2 following their last 14 losses. 12-2 following the loss. But I think more importantly, bro, they will riot if the Cowboys lose at home after that loss last week to the Saints. There's a lot of pressure on the Cowboys, bro. I think they're going to squeak this one out, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Lamar Jackson's going to be 0-3.
Vince, let me tell you and Jake why Lamar Jackson is dead to me. I want to take you back just a few days. Raiders, Ravens, and I've become fairly known across the country. No, producer man, I want to see these 2 guys' faces when I tell them this. And so I've been pretty well known, Jake, now across America and around the world in the world of sports betting. I kind of know what I'm talking about. I do a show on a big thing called Amazon Prime Video. You probably heard of it, Stadium. Maybe you heard of it. And so I played a prop last week, and it was Lamar Jackson over 48.5 rushing yards. On the last play of the game, he was sitting at 20. I thought it was a dead bet. It's no good. And then what do? The Raiders play that deep 4 or 5 guys back. They leave it all. You saw the play I'm talking about. Lamar's running straight down the field. All he had to do was just either go down or throw it forward 35, right? Or not throw it backwards 5 yards. He got to 50. He lateraled it 5 yards. So he won the bet. And then he finishes with 45 because he fumbled it backwards. And I lost my bet on that play. Dead to me.
It's incredible.
Your boy. Isn't that incredible?
It's incredible.
Right?
The way they get the spreads, it's incredible. It's so fun to watch, and like every game, it's going to come down to something like that. I saw that play and I thought it was very cool. I was like, when it happened, I thought maybe this is a new like fake Hail Mary that you can do at halftime to get into field goal range or something. I don't know, but like the way he took off out of that pocket was like a slingshot,
right? And he ran 30 yards without being touched. It's almost like the Raiders like, we'll let you run as long as you want to run until you get to the 20. Oh, man. And I was not the only one that played that number, by the way. I was not the only one.
It seems like a fair bet.
Right? Every week, it's him and Jalen Hurts. Those are the 2 quarterbacks you play on the ground. It's just what you do. It's what you do. You're watching the Coach and Bro Show here on Sportskeeda.com. We launch every Monday and Thursday. We bring on great guests like that man right in the center. That is Jake Hager. Football, wrestling, MMA. He's done it all. Now, guys, sometimes I look at a number, and Vince, I'm going to come to you first on this one. And I go, what in the world are we doing? The Saints have scored 91 points in the first 2 weeks. And now the Philadelphia Eagles, who laid an egg, they allowed the fighting Kirk Cousins to come in and drive 70 yards in 35 seconds to beat them last Monday night. And Jake Kelsey, it's almost like Vince, Jake Kelsey was the opening promo on Raw. Then he had a crossover segment, and then he had the main event. That's how much we saw Jason Kelsey on Monday night. I was like, ESPN, is there nobody else that you can feature? But now the Eagles go on the road, and the Saints are a very small 2.5-point favorite after scoring 91 points in the first 2 weeks. Vince, what am I missing?
I am going, Coach, here. I don't have notes. I don't have statistics. I am going strictly from a fan's POV.
Love it.
And that is, you had two teams last week. One was so impressive and the other was so non-impressive. And we're only looking at a 2.5-point spread. I 1,000% am taking the New Orleans Saints and gladly giving it 2.5 points.
Jake, I feel the same way. And when you're dealing with a fan base, you've wrestled in Philadelphia. We're the best in the business until we aren't. The Eagles, a lot of pressure on their shoulders right now, don't they?
I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for saying this in Philly, but I just couldn't happen to a nicer guy, right? Mr. Nick, tear in my beer, Sirianni. It's weird. Like, I thought the Eagles had fixed what they did. They looked so good with Saquon in the first week, and then really, like, seemed like the old foes from last season came back and just crumbled again. This could be a very interesting game. New Orleans is definitely one of the hottest teams in the league. I picked up Derek Carr last week because I had Jordan Love, and Derek Carr won me the week in fantasy. So I'm a big Saints guy. Definitely going 2.5, even though 2.5 is a very wonky one as well. I'll have to look at the other spreads to see if there's any other 2.5s that I think aren't going to cover at home, and then kind of decide the difference. But based on just going head to head, I think the Eagles, that they're not going to have much to fly about.
I'm looking at the money line, and normally I don't like to lay more than -150, -160. It's -150. So I might just play the Saints to win, because sometimes, as they say, the juice is worth the squeeze. And I think in this game, it absolutely is. But Vince, did you hear what he said about the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
He would be a great heel in the WWE, because he is as unlikable a head coach that has ever been in the league. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, 1,000%, man. He could have a future in our business. No doubt about it.
I can't stand him. Jake, last year, the Eagles went to, I'm a Chiefs fan, born and raised. And they went and won in Kansas City. And you know how we have that that you walk up the tunnel, and for about 10 or 15 feet, the fans can look over, and he's yelling and he's yelling at them. Remember when they beat the Chiefs, and cursing at them, tell them how great they were, and then they were 10-1 and fell off a cliff. Like you said, couldn't happen to a nicer guy, could it?
It really couldn't. It really couldn't. I'm an OU guy, so I want to see Jalen play well and succeed. But I'm also an Atlanta Braves guy, so I'm against Philly most of the time.
Wait a second. Did you just say you're a baseball fan? Because Vince Russo likes to pride
himself.
Talk
about between you. Hey, Coach, can we take Jack out of the shot and just have a 2-shot? Producer man, could we have a 2-shot? Because I want to say something. I don't want Jake listening to this, bro. Coach, you talk about shiting the bed. The Braves have shite the bed, and they are done for the 2000. I don't want Jake to know that. Hey,
kayfabe. Jay, I don't know if you heard that. We tried to put you on mute.
I've seen Jake do this many times on TV.
Niles, if you could text me Mr. Russo's home address, please. I'd like to pay him a visit.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was his celebration. I remember your first Bellator win. You did that. I remember that. That was your thing. Am I wrong? That was your celebration.
I did that.
Didn't you do that? You were very emotional when you had that really quick win. Maybe it wasn't your first one, but I know that one of them you did it. Maybe.
I think it was just like a fist pump, and then I was still doing We the People at the time.
Yeah,
that's right.
Jake, you can't sit there and tell me, bro. You're not going to sit there and tell me when there are 10 games left in the season and they're blowing a 5-1 lead to the lowly Reds. You can't tell me right then and there you didn't throw in the towel and tap out.
I threw in the towel when Acuna got hurt. So,
fair enough.
I'm here for more support.
Fair enough. Okay.
Last topic, and I'm glad you brought this up, Jake, and then we have to let you go because me and Vince have obligations that we have to get to. But you mentioned...
What's Vince got to do?
That's a very good point. I ask myself all the time.
You both have very good points. I'll be honest with you. What I got to do, I'm babysitting my 93-year-old dad, bro. So I got to make sure he's not upstairs getting into trouble.
He's becoming a social media star, by the way. When he was standing behind you the other day,
unbelievable,
that was priceless. I love your dad. Love your dad. So you mentioned this is actually a real story, and I'm just throwing this on you right now in real time to get your reaction. So you mentioned getting Vince Russo's home address. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Dan Campbell, who we've talked about here on this show, he's a horrible game manager when it comes to being a head coach. Never kicks the field goal, always goes on it for fourth down. Last week was in tears after the game because he blamed the loss to Tampa on himself. Probably should have gone to the Super Bowl last year if they would have just played field position against the 49ers. Am I right? So he just put his house on the market in suburban Detroit for $4.5 million and got an offer on it within 24 hours. They're closing on it, which means they priced it to sell. The reason they're doing this is Dan Campbell said that once they started losing big games, somebody put his address out onto the social media and fans started coming to his house. And now he needs to move behind a gated community. That's taking it a little bit too far, don't you think, Jake?
Okay, I think that's way too far. This is a game. These are people's lives. He has children. He has a family. Like, you come up to my car, I'm getting angry. That's too far, let alone come to my house. This day and age, we have to deal with this type of security issue and absolutely should live behind a wall. Walls work. Newsflash, they work. They've worked for centuries. They don't stop working now. So move behind the wall, and I hope he's safe. And no, I don't think the Lions would have made it to the Super Bowl last year, even if they would have played field position, because that second half that the 49ers put on them was just something special. It was like a whirlwind. Like, even the 49ers didn't even have that much to do with it. It was just kind of like luck. It was that Ayuk catch, and then it was the fumble on the kickoff return. And it was just like, all of a sudden we're back in the game. And I don't know.
That's a fair take. That's a fair take. I just look at it from, if he kicks, everything, we never know. But when you take the points, and then it changes stuff. But that's a very, very fair take. Vince, let me come over to you, because this is where I joke around a lot. Obviously, we joke around a lot. But when fans start taking it this far, whether it's following us to the airport and going, saying on top of us there, or this was a crazy story that just came out a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, listen, I've had that happen to me, Coach. I've had pictures of my house, the outside and the inside, put up online, bro. So, trust me, it's bro, there's crazy out there, bro. And I always say this, man, as a fan, you have to know your place, and you've got to respect the sport, and you've got to respect the people in the sport. And I feel, bro, especially when it comes to wrestling today, the wrestling business has opened the door and allowed these people to walk in thinking they're part of the business. And that's when it gets to that point, man, it gets very, very dangerous. Real fans, bro, are respectful fans. And yeah, bro, this is when it gets to that level, man, I'd be getting out of town, not just out of my house.
You're absolutely right. Jake, we've got to run, brother. Thank you for the time. Can't wait to do it again. You did know. Look at my man. You knew yourself some NFL, and I loved it. Thank you. Best of luck. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks for having me on, guys. A lot of fun.
Take care.
Vince, suck it.
Jake Hager, he's done it all. MMA, wrestling, football. That's exactly what we're talking about with Coach and Bro. Now, Vince, before we get to, the wrestling portion that's on Backstage, the new premium here at Sportskeeda.com, we got to give out 3 of our big plays. And I know Jake just gave his out, but I wanted it to be me and you. And I want to go back to that Ravens Cowboys.
Before we get to our 3 plays. Did you see when we went off the air, he said, Vince, suck it? Bro, let me tell you something. He's wearing I got the gold chain, bro. I got the chest. Who Jake ever beat?
He said, suck it?
He said, suck it, Vince. As he's going off the air, he said, suck it, Vince, as we were going off the air. Who'd he ever beat, bro, with the gold chain? Hey, look at me. Hey, I'm an MMA fighter. Who'd he ever beat, Coach? You and I are both. He said it himself. He don't have no belts on those mantle plates. You and I are both champions. You and I are champions, Coach. You and I are champions.
We are champions.
Suck it, Vince.
I didn't see him do that.
Ex-producer man to confirm that.
He did. Oh, producer man saying yes. Do you have heat? Do you have heat with Jake?
First time I ever met the dude, bro.
Wow. And he said,
nah, he was kidding. But still, who has he ever beat, Coach? Seriously, you and I are world champions. Seriously, we gotta be more selective of who we bring on the show. Maybe it should be world champions only.
Well, I mean, that's where we start with me and you. That's
the bar. That's the bar, bro. That's the bar. Yeah.
All right. I'll be more careful when I'm calling our big time agency to book these guests. But
all right. So what are we talking about, Coach?
We got to pick 3 games here.
Let's go.
And I want to go back to the Ravens and the Cowboys because this one is it's Cowboys plus the 1 at home. Ravens laying the 1. The sports books always seem to have it right. This one, I'll be honest with you, Vince. I didn't even know what the spread should be because both teams laid an egg last week. Where do you see this going?
Wait, which one? What game are you talking about now?
Ravens and Cowboys.
We talked about that with Jake, right?
I need to get your pick for this part of the segment right
now. Oh, for this part of the segment.
Segment.
I think, listen, I said I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan. No question about it. I can't believe Lamar Jackson is going to go 0-3. I didn't even think that was possible. However, bro, I think there is a ton of pressure on the Cowboys based on last week. They are at home. They are 12-2 following a loss. It is only 1 point. So I think the Cowboys will win and cover the spread. Or actually, they're giving a point, bro. I think the Cowboys over.
I hate the spread because I don't know which team is going to show up for either team. So I looked at the total and it's 48.5. And that's kind of where I want to go because I watched the entire game and the Saints scored 35 in the first half. And as long as teams are doing this, Vince, running across the field, the Cowboys can't stay with anybody. Yeah. And so I think there's going to be a lot of points. I think Lamar Jackson does get his rushing numbers. I think he goes over 100 yards because the guys will be running all over the place and he'll just be running. So I like the over in this game, 48.5.
I think that's a great bet, Coach. I really do. I think that's probably the safest bet.
Okay. Let's go to the other one we already talked about. We need to get our 2 picks here, though. Eagles and the Saints. Keep in mind, the Saints have scored 91 points. They've almost gone over the total of the games by themselves. That's crazy to think about. So the Saints right now are giving 2.5. We don't want it to go up to 3, but let's play it at 2.5. What do you like?
Yeah, bro, so impressive last week. I made a mistake. I thought they scored on their first 5 drives. Actually, it was their first 6 drives. So impressive last week. So much momentum. I know the Eagles played horrible on Monday night. I think they'll play better, but I'm still going to give the 2.5 points and take the Saints.
I like this 2 different ways. I like giving the 2.5 because I think the Saints are a lot better. I never understand, Vince, why people go, oh, pump the brakes. We got to wait till week 6 or week 7 to see just how good they are. Preseason, everybody in New Orleans says, we are going to be great. They come out of the blocks, and they've been great. Alvin Kamara has something to prove. He's got 5 total touchdowns in 2 weeks. He has nearly 300 yards combined yardage in 2 weeks. This team is legit.
Yep.
And they laid it on 2 teams. They're going to lay it on a third. But if you're scared a little bit, I don't mind laying that minus 150 either that we said earlier in the show. All right, our third and final game. And we could go in a lot of different directions. But there is a matchup of 2 2-0 teams that, I'll be honest with you, Vince, I didn't think this would be 4 wins between the Texans and the Vikings. And the Texans have C.J. Stroud. It was a workmanlike. They win by 5, or say they barely covered against Chicago. And then Minnesota beats San Francisco to beat up 49ers. The Texans on the road, a favorite by 2. What do you like?
I got to tell you, they looked really, really good last week, the Texans. They on Sunday Night Football, I mean, they looked really, really good. And I think huge win by the Vikings last week. And, Coach, you know how it is in sports, bro. You get that huge W, and then the next week you kind of off of that high and a team can catch you. I think that's what's going to happen here, bro. I'm taking the money line, bro, but I am going to take Houston on this one.
I like the money line, and the NFL is the one sport, Vince, that I like money line bets, even if I've got to lay 30, 40, or 50 cents, because unlike college where style points matter, they don't in the NFL. Wins matter. So I like the money line here too. Also, I have a son named JJ. The JJ that plays for Minnesota had a 97-yard touchdown last week, and he hurt his quad in the process. So he is very questionable. Even if he plays, I don't think he's going to be 100%. He is dynamic, and unless he's 100%, I would never take Minnesota. I agree with you. I'll take the Texans minus the 2, or more importantly, on the money line.
Coach, can I tell you a little bit of something about money line?
Yes.
It's baseball, though.
Okay.
I took the money line on 4 teams yesterday.
Talk to me.
No way the Marlins were going to beat the Dodgers back-to-back.
I love that one. I took the over in that game.
Okay, so I took the Dodgers. This is all money line Dodgers.
Okay.
Yankees, Seattle.
Oh, that was a sweat of all sweats.
Yankees, I took Yankees.
Yep.
Mets are on a roll.
On fire.
Lowly, who'd they play? The lowly
Nationals.
Nationals. Okay. Yep. Bro, I am a San Francisco Giant fan through and through.
Do not tell me. Do not tell me.
They beat the Orioles, bro. They beat the Orioles on Monday. I'm like, no way. No way are the Giants beating the Orioles. The Orioles season is on the line. No way. Giants 5, Orioles 3, bro. Cost me my 4-team parlay, bro.
It's bad enough losing a 4-team parlay. It's even worse when it's your own favorite team.
It is.
Because you're trying to separate heart and home is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
And the Orioles in the last 24 games, last 12 games, they only scored 24 runs. I think they get swept today. As we're recording this show right now, it's in the middle of the third, 0-0. Logan Webb is on the mound today for San Francisco.
Wow.
The Orioles are really limping to.
Yeah, man. They and the Tigers are on fire, man. Looking for that last playoff spot.
By the way, did you see the finish of that Yankees-Mariners game?
I did not, bro. I fell asleep when it was. I fell asleep. It was 1-0 in the 9th. I didn't see the finish.
All right, so it's something I've never seen before in the history of watching baseball. So imagine this. You got 1st and 3rd, nobody out, bottom of the 10th. The Yankees are up 2-1, okay? Whoever was up at bat, so Julio Rodriguez, the stud for the Mariners, he's on 3rd base. So whoever is at bat swings at the 3rd strike, lets go of the bat, it sails down the 3rd base line. Rodriguez ducks out of the way and runs like towards the dugout. So he's probably 10 feet off the 3rd base. He's thinking it's a dead ball. because the bat flew past third base and he was just trying to get out of the way. The Yankees catcher stands up, throws it to third base. They tag Rodriguez, double play.
Oh my God. I've never seen that. I've never seen that.
Wait till you see it. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen.
Wow.
And then whoever, I think Justin Turner struck out the end of the game, and that's how the Yankees won 2-1.
I got to go back and watch
You got to watch it. It was bananas. Yeah. It was bananas. That's the kind of stuff you get right here, whether it's baseball, whether it's football. This is the Coach and Bro Show. There's only one of us, and we're together now on Sportskeeda.com. Do not forget, we've got a bunch of premium access and content at Backstage. All you got to do is go to Sportskeeda.com. Just Google Backstage. You'll find a lot of what we do and a couple other new shows as well. Check out our social medias. We'll be putting out the links to Backstage also. Very small premium, but we want to take care of you.